It's Wednesday, December 30th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Sandals Barbados Resort and Spa will no longer be a designated quarantine hotel come January 5th next year. The chief medical officer delisted the establishment after several complaints of breaches of COVID-19 protocols taking place at the resort with respect to visitors in quarantine. But officials at the all-inclusive property are refuting the claim. Our Kareem Smith has the story.
In an exclusive statement, Sandals Resorts International is vehemently refuting allegations of repeated protocol breaches and is accusing local public health officials of imposing heavy-handed action in the midst of dialogue between the hotel and the Ministry of Health. The locally based five-star property is also contesting an implication from authorities that 3 tourists currently in police custody regarding protocol breaches are in some way associated with its guests. Late Tuesday night, after numerous inquiries from Barbados Today, the Ministry of Health and Wellness announced in a statement that from January 5, 2021, the Sandals Barbados Resort and Spa would be delisted as a designated quarantine hotel. According to the ministry, the actions followed several verified complaints of COVID-19 protocol breaches occurring on the sprawling all-inclusive property at Dover in Christchurch. But hours later, Sandals Resorts International contended that at no point had Ministry of Health officials stationed daily at the resort informed them of any perceived breaches until they received a recent letter from Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George. According to Sandals, the alleged breaches were refuted in writing. A request was made for further review of the allegations, along with a follow-up meeting between the parties. The unfolding events come just weeks after Grenada's Ministry of Health linked Sandals Grenada to a cluster of COVID-19 cases that forced a new partial lockdown of the Eastern Caribbean island following an unprecedented spike of 26 cases in the span of a day. Kareem Smith for Barbados Today.
Barbados's murder toll climbed to 41 last night following the shooting death of a 27-year-old man. The victim has been identified as Mikhail Zico Alonzo Hardin of Williams Road, Upper Collymore Rock, St. Michael. Acting Station Sergeant Michael Blackman, in a release last night, said lawmen received a report around 9:15 of a man being shot and injured in his community. On arrival, they were told that the victim had already been transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by private vehicle. He was pronounced dead on arrival. As investigations continue, police are asking anyone who may have information about this incident to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477, Police Emergency at 211, or any police station. Some promoters are cancelling their New Year's Eve events following the announcement of the new limited COVID-19 directive. Word of this from Chairman of the Entertainers Association of Barbados, Rodney Maloney. On Monday, Attorney General Dale Marshall announced that persons desirous of hosting events with more than 150 patrons would have to seek special permission from the COVID-19 monitoring unit, while those given prior permission for up to 250 patrons would be allowed to proceed. Maloney told Barbados Today while promoters understood the need to guard against the virus, some have reported that the new limited COVID-19 directive restrictions were making it impossible for them to break even. The finals of the first Beach to the World Performing Arts competition is slated for January 9th next year at the Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium. Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Dwight Sutherland gave the update yesterday and presented the 12 finalists who drew for their order of performance. He said the competition and other similar projects were created out of a need for government and other entertainment industry players to provide opportunities for Barbadian talent to gain much needed experience for the world stage.
Community projects such as Bears to the World, and we're talking about the first inaugural Bears to the World project, was conceptualized to find that talent, to create that talent across the communities, to build the cohesiveness across communities, to build global citizens among you young people. I'm hearing we had contestants from teenage up to 104. That's the age group that I heard. And we had over 300 persons who were registered for this Bears to the World Talent. So we as a government believe the only way we can build Barbados and become that country that Kofi Annan spoke about, punching above its weight, is by doing it by skill. So that's why we went across the communities with this project to identify talent.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, the alert level associated with La Soufrière volcano was on Tuesday raised from yellow to orange, the third highest of the four color scheme after it entered an effusive eruption stage. With the orange alert, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has urged residents of the northern third of St. Vincent that they must prepare to evacuate at short notice should such an order be given.
I'm urging all Vincentians to remain calm and to listen to the alerts from the National Emergency Management Organization. All residents living close to the volcano are asked to make all necessary preparations to evacuate just in case an order is given. I want to emphasize, no evacuation order is being given. This is really an alert because of the increased activity taking place at La Soufrière with the effusive eruption internally, with the heat which is coming out and with the steam which is coming out. Look, we have to be very careful that we don't tempt fate. Nobody should be going up there, and if you're up there, you have to come out because the place up there would be very hot. And all recreational visits to the volcano are to be suspended with immediate effect. And please, I'm asking you to refrain from visiting the volcano at this time.
And finally, in the U.S., the first reported case of the COVID-19 variant that emerged in the UK has been confirmed in Colorado. The patient, a man in his 20s with no recent travel history, is currently in isolation. State health officials say they are doing contact tracing and working to identify other potential cases of the new variant. More from Reuters TV.
The United States reported its first confirmed case of a highly infectious coronavirus variant on Tuesday. It was discovered in a patient in Colorado and came as President-elect Joe Biden criticized the current administration's vaccination rollout. Biden warned it could take years for most Americans to be vaccinated, at the rate they're being distributed now. About 2 million people have been vaccinated, well short of the 20 million promised by outgoing Republican President Donald Trump by the end of the year.
The Trump administration's plan to distribute vaccines is falling behind, far behind.
Shortly after his remarks in Delaware, Colorado Governor Jared Polis confirmed the first case of the coronavirus variant, the same variant first detected in Britain. The infected patient was a man in his 20s with no recent travel history and is currently in isolation, Polis said in a statement. His office said no close contacts to the individual have been identified so far.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.